Here with Teambrandos design. So today I'm going to do a mermaid tumbler. It's going to be an alcohol ink mermaid tumbler with bling glitter epoxy to seal. I've applied my mermaid scales. I will post in the comments a link for the scales. These ones are put on one by one. This is a 16-ounce tumbler. I'm doing it for my niece. It's gonna be a little like this when it's done, but a few more colors. I am first applying matte white Krylon paint and primer. Okay, it'll be my base coat, my primer coat, and it will help the alcohol inks to be more vibrant and bright and colorful. Alright, you guys don't have to, but I suggest it. So I have my tumbler on a piece of a Lazy Susan. It was a tower, and then on top of that it's just sitting on one of those wagon wheel things. So I'm just going to apply a light coat, very lightly. You don't need a bunch of paint on there. If you do, then you're going to have to sit and wait for hours to let it dry. This will dry to the touch and be able to be alcohol inked within about 30 minutes, maybe less, depending on how much you put on there. Maybe an hour, depending on how much you put on there. As you can see, I did not put very much. I kept my can away from the tumbler. You don't want to get too close or it's going to run, and then you got to worry about all that, and it's just better just to keep it far away from it. When you're done, which takes, as you can see, about 45 seconds to a minute and a half, don't overthink it, guys. Don't overthink the spray painting. I see it so much where people are asking all these million questions, and yes, there are a few specifics to spray painting a cup. Number one, don't use too much. Number two, keep your can about 12 to 18 inches away from the cup. Number two, pay attention to the label on the back. It says reapply coat within an hour or after 24 hours. Listen to it. Don't do anything less than 24 hours if it's any more than an hour, because it will bubble and you will have to start over. I promise you, you will have to start over. You'll spend lots of money trying to fix it and it won't fix, and then you'll have to start over. And it's not my favorite thing in the world. I do always sand down the outside of the cup after I put on the scales with 400 grit sandpaper. It allows the paint to adhere easier and suction to the cup better. What else? I think that's really about it as far as like the specifics on what to do and what not to do when it comes to spray painting a cup. The number one thing I can say is don't overthink it. You overthink it and you're going to get too close, you're going to spray too much, you're going to not spray enough. Honestly, I always would rather have less than more when it comes to painting cups, epoxying, alcohol ink, glitter, etc. Because here's the thing, guys. You can always reapply more, but you can't take off a layer. And that is my number one. As Miranda Brandos, Teambrandos Design, that is my number one tip for you guys when it comes to these tumblers. And when it comes to all the different methods, glitter, epoxy, alcohol ink, spray painting, all of it. Although you may hear more is better, you'd rather have more than less, or too much than not enough. Not when it comes to this stuff, guys. Not when it comes to this. Less is more. You can apply second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth coats if you need to get the exact amount, but you can't strip those coats off. Alright guys, I'm going to end this and I'm going to wait about 20 more minutes for my cup to be dry to the touch, and then I will have part 2 for you guys where I actually start to alcohol ink. Thanks! Hey y'all, Miranda here. Okay, so my white base paint is nice and dry to the touch. It's been roughly about 20 minutes, 20-30 minutes. So now I am going around and I'm just making sure all my scales are pushed down. Make sure they didn't raise at all with the air from the spray paint can. It's actually really easy to get the little sections if you ever get like an accidental whoops and you seep underneath the scales. It's not hard to get it off. It's just a little tedious and takes time, so I try and make sure I don't. My scales aren't exact on this one. This morning I was trying to put them on and my little sweet pea decided that she wanted to be in my lap while I was doing it all. So it didn't work out too well. So, alright, so my scales are all on here. Okay, I don't put any on the very, very bottom. It just, with the little lip thing, it seems to cause more issues and it looks funky. So, I obviously still have it taped off, so the ink doesn't get anywhere on the inside of the cup. Set that aside. I have a 12x12 piece of cardstock that I do everything on, just that way I'm not getting so much all over the place. I have my homemade alcohol inks that my goddaughter makes for me. Her and I taught ourselves how to make them a couple months ago, and she makes them for me now. So I've got purple, I've got a hot pink, I have a green, and I have a blue. The last one I did just had 3 colors because it was a lot smaller. But this one I'm going to try and do 4 colors with. I also have my spray bottle of rubbing alcohol, and I will show you why here in a little bit. I have my little sponges, my little makeup sponges. Sometimes I use the makeup sponges, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I end up with it all over my fingers, and I use my fingers. So, alright, we're going to get started, and we're going to do a 4-color ombre mermaid scale tumbler. Alright, so I think I'm going to start with my blue and work blue from the bottom up. All I'm going to do, well, you want to make sure that they're good and shaken. I'll do a tutorial on how to make alcohol ink as well. I just haven't done it yet. This is my first full one that I'm doing, that's going straight from here to YouTube, not even onto Facebook first. I'm excited. Done my YouTube channel. It's Teambrandos Design. Alright, so I'm going to start by doing a little bit on the bottom, just to get that color on the bottom. I'm going to use my makeup sponge to just kind of sponge it around a little bit. And as you can see, it started to seep up on top. Let me turn myself around here. I'm left, right, sideways handed, kind of. I kind of use all my hands. Technically left-handed, but so as you can see, I'm just going to dab it on the bottom. Situate this light a little bit here. Oh, almost dropped. Light. Alright. Sorry about that. I'm going to try and get the glare off a little bit. Okay, so I just started with my blue on the bottom and get a little bit going on here. Kind of spread it around. This is why I like using my fingers more. And yes, I got it up here on the side a little bit, but that's alright because it'll all get blended in with the other colors. I'm just kind of pat. I like starting from the bottom, just because I feel like it just kind of all glides up together. My preference, you can use it however you want to. You can use makeup sponges, you can use the little alcohol ink sponges, you can use, you know, whatever makes you happy. I'm just doing little bits and kind of letting it roll around here. And then I'm going to take my hand, and I may stop and change gloves here after the blue and the green, because I don't want to get my blue and my pink as much. It will run together, guys, so just know that. It's kind of like the epoxy does, like it just kind of spreads itself where it wants to go. I'm getting a good amount on here. I want to get it really bright and vibrant, which I will show you how to make it even more vibrant. The white background helps a lot. The white matte. Not to be confused with the gloss or any other color or any other finish. The matte helps. It just helps it really pop. Alright, so I got a good little thing going for blue here. You can see it. And it kind of goes up on the side, which is okay because I'm going to blend it all together anyways. So I'm going to make sure I shake my green up really good. And then I'm not going to start right here at the line where the green or where the blue stops. I'm going to start a little bit further up, and then that way it can kind of, then I can blend it down as I want it to go. So, sorry, this glare is horrible. I think I know what it is. Hold on one second, guys. A little bit. That helped too. There we go. That helped a lot more. Okay. Sorry, I don't like the glare on it. I got a bunch of lights here in my garage because it just, my garage is so dark normally. Alright, so I'm just going to get going here. Again, I don't start where the line stops from the blue. I start a little bit further up so that I can blend it how I want it to be blended. And again, I'm just using my finger, same ones that I used with the blue. That way, when I get down here to blend the blue and the green, you know, I already got a little bit of blue on my hand. The alcohol ink dries really fast, at least the homemade kind does. I haven't used the kind from like the craft store or anything like that. I'm really all about the DIY, like the inks and the, you know, the accessories and stuff like that. I'd rather do it that way. It makes it more personable to me. It makes it more mine. One thing I love about the alcohol inks is no cup is ever going to look exactly the same. There's no way. No way you're ever going to get it to look exactly the same with all the same lines and all the same patterns. The cool thing about alcohol ink is you can do the padding, or you can, you know, you can rub it, or you can swirl it. And no matter what you do, no matter which way you go, oops, hold on. No matter which way you go, I'm caught on something here. no matter which pattern you choose to do, it's all gonna look awesome in the end. I mean, I haven't seen an alcohol ink cup yet that didn't look really awesome. So now I'm kind of just swirling it after I've patted it on, because I'm trying to make the green really bright and vibrant. I start off with very little, just like everything else I've said so far, and that is less is more when you're doing this kind of stuff, because you can add more, but you can't add less. I'm going to go back and do a little bit more blue here, now that I've got some green on my finger, and kind of blend it together. I'm going to swirl it, kind of make it more of a teal color. I try and do things as basic as possible as far as like the steps to it. Very simplified, and because the less things I've got to remember, the better. I've got, you know, I've got my 4 kids, I've got my nieces and nephews always running around. My brain's all over the place. I got 4 kids at 4 different schools this year, which is craziness. And so the less I have to remember as far as steps to get something the way that I want it to look in the end, the better. So I try and minimalize. Alright, so I got the blue and the green going. I'm really liking the way this is looking. If you can see it. My glare is really bad though. I apologize, guys. I hope you can see this as well as I can. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, because I've got the blue and the green on that hand, I'm going to take my glove off and I'm going to switch. I'm going to get a new glove. I buy these boxes of 100 gloves. You can see it. The 100 Equate gloves from Walmart. I think the box of 100 was like $7.99 or something like that. Totally worth it. Alright, so I'm going to set my blue and my green aside, and I think I'm going to go with I think I'm going to go with purple next. Shake my purple really good. And again, not starting at the line, starting up a little bit. And now the purple is really dark, so I'm not going to do too much at a time because I don't want it to turn into like a brown color with the green. Which I'm going to blend that a completely different way when I'm done. The brown and green, or purple and green together, it turns brown. So I'm going to be really careful on how much I put at a time when I'm working this. Because again, I don't want it to go into the green and turn brown. I need to re-up my ink and my alcohol inks because it's kind of looking a little bit faded here, but I'm going to make it brighter here in a few minutes when I show you why I have my spray bottle of rubbing alcohol. Again, I've patted, now I'm swirling. Make sure I get a real bright purple color. And then I'm kind of going back over it and just patting a little bit. Ooh, I got a lot right there. A lot, and I didn't mean to. But that's alright, we'll make it work. Spread it kind of like I do the epoxy with those brushes. Or I can always sit here and soak some of it up with my sponge. It's really all I use the sponges for. Just to get all that excess. Alright, so if you look, you can still see the white between the green and the purple because I don't want it to turn brown. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take I'm going to take my dark blue and I'm just going to do a little bit on my sponge here, and I'm going to sponge those together. And then I'm going to put some green and some more blue. Almost make like a powdery. And just kind of sponge. Yeah, as you can see, I got some there. I'm gonna pull out my teal. Get my teal on there. I should have done teal instead of green anyways. Alright, we'll fix it. We'll make it work here, guys. I'm like the queen of, my customers call it Frankensteining, because like I can't even tell you how many times I have messed up like shirts or dimensions of how much vinyl I needed or something for a shirt, and then I've ended up with not enough, and I've got to go back and I've got to figure out how to get what I need out of less than what I should have. So I kind of like doing that. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I do. I like it. Because when I'm able to make something out of a mess up, I feel like it brings out my creativeness. It brings out like the design person in me, and it brings out my passion for it, my love for it. So right now, to fix the brown that I made with the green and purple, I just put some teal on there to take out that green pigment. I just added a little bit of teal here and there. And made sure I blended it with the purple. As you can see, I did switch hands because I didn't want the purple from the other hand in the green. And the good thing about the teal also is that when it blends into the blue, it's just going to look natural. So I got a few different color shades here on my green. Between my blue and my green and my purple and my teal. bare spots. Alright, so here's how it's looking. I was able to save it. Just switch back hands again. Back over here to my purple pink hand. And I wiped some purple off here, so I'm going to go back and just kind of dab some extra on there because it had some blank spots. Alright, so I'm going to set all these aside. I'm going to get my pink to finish off the top. So I'm going to hold it like this. Make sure my glove's real good and up there so that it doesn't move down into the rest of the cup. It's going to get on my hand and not in the cup. And if it does get in the cup, I luckily have that tape on the inside, but I'd rather it get in the cup and not on the rest of everything. If you do get some in the cup though, it's not a big deal. I use the stripping agent, the stripping spray. I can show it to you guys. I use that for everything though, and then because it takes off epoxy and it takes off paint and it takes off ink, it does burn the crap out of my hands if I get it on myself though, on my skin. But I do use it for like everything. I spray it on the inside of the cup to make sure that I haven't gotten any particles on the inside of the cup, and if I have, then I use that stripping spray to get all that out. And then after I use the stripping spray, I wash it really good with a sponge and with soap and water and a sponge to make sure that, you know, I've gotten all the excess spray out of it, stripping spray out of it. And then I turn around and I douse the inside of my cups with rubbing alcohol. I use rubbing alcohol for so much. I love it. But I douse the inside of it with rubbing alcohol, and then that way it disinfects everything. And I always tell my customers before they drink out of their cup, go ahead and wash it to your liking. Alright guys, so I got my pink on. I'm really excited about how pretty that pink is. Love it. So we got our blue, our green, our purple, and our pink. So now, I'm going to go ahead and take these gloves off so I don't get the color. It's pretty well dried to the touch. I mean, that's the good thing about that matte color, is that it really, and between the matte color and then the DIY inks, I don't know how regular inks are, but the DIY inks, they dry really quickly. So, give me a second here. Let me turn my camera because I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do with this rubbing alcohol. And I want you to see how much brighter the cup will get than it already is, okay? So I'm just lightly spraying it all the way around. You guys see that? You see how much brighter it got? But then I sit here and I rotate it with my arm, okay? I rotate it. Because if I don't and I set it down before it is dry, then they'll run into each other even worse. But do you guys see how much brighter that just got? Like, just spraying it from really far, you know, I got about the same as I do my spray paint, and that is, you know, anywhere from 8 to 10 inches with this alcohol. Spray paint I do about 12 to 18 inches, but the rubbing alcohol about 8 to 10 inches, and I just spray it. and it gives it its own effect as well. I have a fan right here, so kind of just letting it run in front of this fan real quick. And side to side, side to side, rotating it, drying it, rotating it, drying it. And there we go. So then I'm going to wait about 10 minutes or so, and that's when I'm going to take off my scales. I'm just going to peel them off with a pair of tweezers, and I will be back with you guys here shortly to show you how to epoxy this. Oh, before I go, I'm sorry. I do spray a sealer over this. Make sure you seal your alcohol ink before you put epoxy on it. I use the for this specific thing, this technique, the alcohol ink technique, the clear I use is low odor clear finish. Krylon low odor clear finish. Okay, it's not a gloss, it's not a matte, it's just a clear finish. So it's just gonna seal what is already on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop the video now, and I'm gonna seal my alcohol ink, and then after it dries for about 10 minutes, I'm gonna peel off all my scales. I start from the top and go down to the bottom, and then we will be back together here shortly to epoxy it. All right, thanks guys.